Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel, Woke Tarot. If you are new here, thank you so much for joining me, and if you are a returning subscriber, thank you so much. I appreciate you coming back. For today's pick a card, I thought it would be fun to do something a little bit different and do a spread on what it is that is blocking love. Now, obviously, we cannot force anybody to love us. We cannot force love to happen. We can't put it in a calendar and pick the date and the time that the love of our lives is going to walk into our hearts and shower us with love. But I do believe that there are certain trajectories, certain paths that we're on that where we can kind of help the wheel move a little bit quicker. There are certain things that we might do, whether consciously or subconsciously, that might be blocking our opportunities when it comes to love. And that is what this pick a card is designed to address. So I have piles for you, five little charms for you to pick from. As always, these readings are general readings, so they're not going to resonate with everybody. If you would like a personal reading, you can always feel free to reach out to me on my website or on my social media at Woke Tarot, which is listed up above, also in the description down below. With that said, let me tell you what piles there are for you to choose from. The first charm that we have is this bronze anchor. We also have this really pretty bow. We have this almost antique looking hairbrush. We have a little scroll that says graduate on it. We have a bee. So go ahead and take a moment to close your eyes if you need to. Take a couple of deep breaths, meditate on the question, and ask your guides, ask your inner knowing what it is that you need to know right now about what is blocking love from coming into your life. If you need to take a second to pause the video, feel free to do that now. Otherwise, you can pick 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5, and then go ahead and skip forward to the times that I have listed somewhere here in the video or at the first comment down below, and that will take you to the time for each pile. Again, the charms that you have to choose from are 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5. With all of that out of the way, I will see you on the other side of whichever charm it is that you have chosen. Alrighty, if you picked charm number 1, then this is the reading for you on what it is that is currently blocking love, what it is that we can do to help that wheel of time move forward and bring that divine union that we are all searching for into our lives. So you have picked the anchor. I get a lot of messages from this. One being this idea of being chained down to something. Obviously, a lot of water imagery here. The anchor belonging to a boat and the boat being in the ocean. Water obviously representing emotion, representing those cups that we see in the tarot. And I get the sense that for some of you, we're currently anchored into a place, an immovable emotional place that is stopping our boat from moving, that is stopping our chariot from moving. You could be a water sign, you could be a Cancer specifically. You don't have to be, obviously. But this idea that we've found a place to set this anchor down, to set our intentions down, our motivation down, the stage that we're in our life down, and that we're not moving, we're not flowing with the ocean, we're not letting the water come and go, we're not traversing it, we're not opening up emotionally. I get this sense too from this anchor. For some reason, I'm getting the 9 of Wands and the 2 of Swords very strongly in my mind here. If you look at the bottom portion of the anchor, These spears almost remind me of that vision of the Two of Swords crossing against a woman's chest. The idea of blocking, of blindfolding, of rejecting almost this emotion that wants to come in, the water that wants to take us away towards a new destination. Very, very interesting. With this chain, you could be chained to something emotionally that is blocking love. You could be chained to an idea. Oh, this is interesting. You could be chained to a notion of what love is, of what it is supposed to be, of what it is that it is supposed to provide you, of how it's supposed to look and feel and smell. And the love that is destined to come to you might be different from that. Interesting. Let's see where this is going. For our anchors, please. What is it that is blocking love from coming in? For our anchors, please. What is it that is blocking love for trial number 1? The Chariot. Oh, movement. Being able to take that movement and move with the tide, move with the ocean. Okay, this idea of stagnancy. You know what's interesting here? First, the Nine of Wands is at the bottom of the deck, and like I mentioned, I got this sense from the charm that this card was going to come up in this spread. Here's what I'm getting here. I want you to look and bear with me, okay? I promise there's a point here at the expression of the person driving this chariot and of the animal itself, right? The animals that decide which direction it is that we are going to pull that chariot. Now, with this particular card, the look on this person's face, the look on the face of these animals, it's very guarded. It's very, first, it's a bit stubborn, right? I know which way I'm going. This is the way that I am destined to travel. This is the way that things have to be. And I'm standing my ground in the notion of the destination that I'm heading towards. But life doesn't really work that way, does it? Sometimes there's detours. Sometimes we find love in the places, the destinations that we last expected them to. So this idea that we're anchoring ourselves emotionally to an expectation, maybe you've watched too many romantic comedies and you feel like love should be a movie or love should work a certain way given your upbringing. Those could be negative experiences too, right? If you've always been with a narcissist, for example, you have a certain expectation that you're consistently drawing these people in. So this idea that love is somewhere else than you expected it to be, a different destination, a different port, if you will. But I see something a little bit differently here. I see this chariot and the expression that is on the face of the driver and on the face of these animals. If you look around, they're suspicious, right? And this man looks down at the direction solely, only the direction that he's headed. It's almost like he's staring at his feet here, right? With this Nine of Wands, I get urban scowl. And again, bear with me because I swear I'm going somewhere with this. For those of you like me that have lived in rougher neighborhoods, right? Growing up, or even now, particularly as a woman, you learn what is referred to often as the urban scowl. And what that is when you are walking a specific path, when you are walking a certain direction, what you are emphasizing in your stride, in the way you take your steps, in your expression, in your laser focused stare down the road is, do not mess with me. I have a specific path that I am traveling, and I want you to know that I am traveling in that direction, guarded and ready to pounce at anybody that comes my way that tries to get my phone number, that tries to talk to me, that tries to take advantage of me in any possible way. So we develop this urban scowl, walking with purpose, walking with communicating without saying that you are not somebody to be messed with. Now, this defensive position, right? This looking at everybody as they are suspicious, as they are a threat to you, that serves a purpose. It keeps us safe. It lets people know that you are communicating that I'm not somebody to be messed with, or if you try to mess with me, something bad's going to happen, right? I'm going to put up a fight. So there's this intense need of protection, right? You are suspiciously looking. If we look at the traditional deck with this Nine of Wands, the man that holds this wand, this ninth wand, is looking very suspiciously at the group of wands around him that are surrounding him, right? Standing his ground, but looking at them very suspiciously. This, to me, this combination says that you have elevated from a place where you have to keep this scowl. Because when we look at this, some of these wands could want to hurt us, right? Some of these wands could have bad intentions. Some of these wands could be those people that we are trying to project away from us with this scowl. But some of these people might be that great love that it is that you're waiting for. Some of these people might be friends, lifelong friends that will come into your life and transform the way you think, the way that you act, the way that you see the world. You learn from them, you grow from them. Some of these people have good intentions. Not everybody is a threat. Not everybody is somebody to be suspicious of. And so with this anchor, I get this sense that you have decided that you're going to stay fixed in this position, in this place that you have long needed to move away from. You've anchored your boat, your chariot, Cancer here specifically. You've anchored that boat to a place that you are no longer at, where you need to look at everyone with suspicious eyes. And you're stubbornly doing so. So when people approach you, they get that projection. They get that, don't mess with me. I don't want to be hurt. And so you might be trying to move into a certain direction, but the image that's being displayed is one of, if you come near me, I will devour you. I will eat you alive. And like I said, time and place, right? There's always a benefit to this fight or flight, to this natural defense that we put up for ourselves out in the world, where we try to make ourselves bigger, we stand taller, we walk firmer, we look solely in the direction that it is that we're traveling. We don't even want to make eye contact with people. Him looking at his feet, in this case the animals, right, that are pulling his chariot forward, because we don't want to have anybody come into our space. We're suspicious of the people that come into our space. We don't know what their intentions are. And this to me is the spread of somebody that has held on to the urban scowl too long, or not in the right circumstances. And because of that, we're not letting go of that look of ferociousness that says, even if you're a good person, even if you're a loving person, I will eat you alive if you come near me. So this is very much about bringing down the defenses, bringing down the wands, even when we're stubbornly holding on to this idea that we have to be tough. Sometimes that toughness can scare people away, right? So again, like I said, right time, right place, because you don't want to be a fool, right? You don't want to let anybody just come in and take advantage of you. There's a reason that the Nine of Wands, this gentleman that typically stands here, is suspicious, because he's been hurt in the past, because people have tried to take things from him, emotional. They try to take their passion, to use passions against them, to, there's all these trials and tribulations that this person has encountered. So there's reason for them to be suspicious. But not every one of these wands is out to hurt you. Not every one of these wands is out to try to make your heart hurt, right? Some of these wands are friendly. They're people that want to come into your life and love you. And so our challenge here is to break down that urban scowl, to learn when it is appropriate to put that up, that defense, to look straight down at our feet and our feet alone, or straight down our destination and our destination alone. Because what we do when we anchor down into one place and don't move this chariot forward and say to people, if you come near me, I will hurt you, right? Is even the good people sense that they have to stay away. They might misunderstand that it's not that you're protecting yourself, it's just that you are closed off emotionally. You've anchored yourself emotionally and you don't want to move. You don't want anybody to come into your life. So this is almost like closing an invitation before it's even sent. RSVPing no before they've even given you the offer, the invitation, right? Let's see where else this is going. For charm number 1, what else can you tell me, please? For charm number 1. For charm number 1, please. What is blocking love? The Eight of Pentacles. Again, this idea of laser focus. I see too this being something that has to be worked on, but has been worked on, right? As in, it's not, we don't grow up like this. We don't grow up distrusting of the world. We don't grow up in this place where we are afraid of love. Love is something that is not just that we're open to when we're born, right? That we're made from when we're born. It is something that we crave, we need. We need love, we need care, especially when we're babies, right? We need that constant nurturing. So this is something that we have worked on, but I also see here this laser focus again with the Eight of Pentacles, of being stuck in this space, not your boat not moving. Your emotions, it's almost like deadpan. That's what I'm getting here. Deadpan. You might in your face have what people call a resting bitch face, right? Where you don't mean to look like you're unapproachable, but you might because you've been hurt in the past. And again, there's a time and a place. You've built this up for a reason, right? But now we have to work to know when it is that we need to put that expression on our face and when it is that it's okay to let that down, right? For charm number 1, please, what else can you tell me about what is blocking love? For charm number 1. For charm number 1. What else can you tell me, please, for charm number 1? We'll do one more and see what comes out, and then we'll move on to an oracle card for the reading, okay? These are going to be kind of simpler, a simpler little pick a card, because I've got a very long video coming out this weekend, okay? For charm number 1, please, what else can you tell me? For what is blocking love? For charm number 1, please. Yeah, again, this Two of Wands, this needing to make a choice between two directions. What direction are you going to take? Again, this idea of movement, right? Of being stuck between these two opposing forces, of keeping the wall up or bringing it down. And when do we need to do that? When is it that we need to let go? And when is it that we need to hold on? This choice of when are we going to open up to love? And when is it that we need to stay with our head to the ground to keep ourselves safe, right? Ace of Cups at the bottom of the deck. This to me says we have to choose love. We have to choose love in our expression, in our stride, in our daily activities, in the way that we speak. Because we might not be communicating in a place where somebody feels like, okay, this person is one, ready for love, but two, this person is somebody that is lovable, right? Obviously, we're all lovable. I'm not saying that, that you're not lovable, but we have to let the wall down to show that love. We have to operate from a place of love, of an open cup that is ready to be poured into, instead of a place of suspicion. That is your choice. That is your debacle here, right? This is what it is that we need to move towards. We need to move towards showing that love. All right? Okay, let's see what we have here as far as an oracle card for you. For charm number 1, please. An oracle card for charm number 1. For charm number 1, please. What message do we have for charm number 1 for what is blocking love from their life? For charm number 1, please. Okay, transformation came out first. So I'm going to read that, and then I'm going to read the reawakened one. Oh, and then this psyche card came out. Oh, I'm torn. Okay. It's going to be a long one. Well, they're short readings, so bear with me here, okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to find each one on the page, and I'm going to hold it up for you here on the camera so that people can screenshot these. I got some comments before that when I had opened the book on some of the definitions on the archetype deck, that they wished that I would have given them a chance to screenshot that. So I'm going to do that for you today. So let's see. Let's start with transformation. I think, too, one of the great things about this deck is they kind of give us some keywords on what it is that are kind of like the key takeaways from that particular card. So it's nice to, you might even be seeing those words around you or thinking those keywords lately. So I think it's nice to kind of see the connection there as well. Just flipping to the page. Bear with me 1 second, please. Okay, transformation. So here is the definition for that, in case if you are interested in screenshotting. Transformation is the process of rebirth, a second birth of cardinal significance that has a sense of alchemical becoming to it, heavy with the portent of renewal. It is the process of breathing in the elements of the world around us, both the visible and the invisible, the dark and the light, distilling and resurrecting them within our being to shape a focused passion that sets us on the path of our destiny. So, transformation. How are we going to transform that look, those lessons, right? The elements of the world around us, both visible and invisible. To me, this speaks of the face. The face representing what it is that we feel on the inside. If we want love, we have to show that on the face, right? Because if we show, stay away from me, if we show that 2 of Swords that I was seeing earlier, that I'm not available, I'm not here to be talked to, I don't want to be approached, we block that. We don't show the invisible, what's inside, that deep yearning, right? Distilling and resurrecting them within our being to shape a focused passion that sets us on the path of our destiny. Distilling. Remember how I said we need to learn to, we've worked to build this up. We need to work to build it down in the right environments, right? To remove our scowl in the places where it is actually safe to show our vulnerabilities, to show that we are open to receiving. This word distilling, the idea of putting something through a sieve, draining it, right? Taking the lessons that we've learned about showing our toughness to the world and being able to funnel that to where we only use that toughness in the right places, right? And that lets us shape a focused passion that sets us on the path of our destiny. Okay, so here are some of the keywords: beginning, hope, change, growth, and discovery. Let's see what the Psyche card has to tell us. Flipping to that, just 1 second. Here we are, in case if anybody wants to screenshot that. All right, Psyche. Somewhere in the ancient history of humanity, our minds sensed another, timeless mind. It whispered to us through the soft breeze as we sat in the tender grass, thinking how good it was. Nature was enough, and summoned us away with its dark, nocturnal love, promising to take us to the ultimate heights of our being, and Psyche was born. The key words for this are accomplishment, becoming, significant, and elevation. I see this very much as the things that we've learned, the things that we've built up with this Eight of Pentacles along the way. Our psyches, when we're born, they were a clean slate, and we picked all of these things up along the way. The dark and the light, right? And sometimes we have to rebuild the psyche. Sometimes we have to adjust, right? We need to shift our becoming, elevate what it is that we've learned, and learn to funnel that in the appropriate circumstances, right? Let's look at reawaken. Reawaken. For our screenshotters here. There can be no beginnings without endings. A vital breath departs and another enters, filled with promise, a breakthrough from the immeasurable expanse that sets life in motion again with a new innocence. Whew, I felt that. That sets life in motion again with a new innocence, a new journey of initiation and discovery in this great circular world before us. Not to beat a dead horse, right? Not to beat a dead chariot, but learning to start fresh, learning to break down. Okay, here's what I've learned about the world, about how tough it is, about how mean it is, right? And now I can take those lessons and I can put them through that sieve, and I can learn when to use certain aspects of that psyche, to reawaken, to tailor them, to ascend, to graduate almost into using these experiences for my benefit, instead of using them subconsciously without maybe even knowing, and blocking what it is that is to come, the journeys that we are about to take. We need to make the choice and to work on building everything that's been built up, right? This death and rebirth has to be reborn in a way that actually serves our purpose and takes us to where it is that we are destined to be. So here's your keywords for this: death, birth, completion, return, totality, and beginning. I love this visual too, because in this card, you see that this hand has almost plucked the tree from the ground. It's elevated that tree, that foundation, that thing that's so deeply been implanted into the ground, into this stubborn, almost like an anchor, right? It's learned to take the tree that it has grown, but to unpluck it from the ground, to unanchor it, and to use it however it is that it pleases. And it almost looks like a pen, like they're holding a pen to rewrite what it is that they want in their life with all of the experiences that they've grown in their life. That's a beautiful message. Charm number 1, I hope that you enjoyed this reading. As always, I'm so grateful that you're here. I hope that you find something of value in this quick little spread. I'll be doing a longer video, which I'm hoping will come out Saturday or Sunday, fingers crossed. They do take a lot of time and a lot of energy to make, so I hope that you join me there. It is a future spouse related video. If you have any questions, please leave a comment down below. If the message resonated with you, let me know. Let me know what your thoughts are and what your interpretation is of this spread. All right, if this is where I leave you, thank you for watching. I appreciate you. I hope that you're having a wonderful April, and hopefully I will see you in my next video. Bye, guys. Alrighty, if you picked charm number 2, then this is the reading for you on what it is that is blocking love right now. From this charm, I get this idea of being all wrapped up, tightly wound. This bow, obviously, as beautiful as it is, it gives us the impression that something is tied, something is contained. A gift that has been made and somehow has remained unopened. And when I get that visual in my head of a gift that remains unopened, it makes me wonder why. When I think about the fact that somebody would have a gift and that gift would not be open, what does that mean? Does it mean that we are mad at the person that gave us the gift? Does it mean that we don't value the gift, right? What does it mean to have an unopened gift? I get that very strongly from this bow. I get binding again, this idea of something being tied, something being tied down. I also, this is interesting. I also get perfection from this bow. Anybody that's ever done a little girl's hair or has tried to tie a bow like this, it's easier said than done, right? It takes a little bit of practice to get a bow to look this beautiful. And the idea that we're striving for perfection could be one of the things that's blocking love. For example, and I see that manifesting in 2 different ways. One, we could be waiting until we are perfect before we try to open the door to love, right? Before we pursue love. We could be, maybe that's why the gift is unopened. Because we're hiding until we feel like we're in a place where our gift is worthy enough of being opened. We're waiting for that perfection. I also get this feeling here in regards to the thoughts on perfection of perhaps there is a gift and it is for us, but we have failed to open it because we have this idea of how a gift should look, how a gift should feel. We are waiting for this perfect gift that might not be the gift that ends up bringing us the most joy. Sometimes it's those oddly shaped gifts, right? Sometimes it's the gifts that are wrapped by somebody that you can tell does not have experience wrapping gifts, right? Sometimes the best gifts lie inside very awkward packaging. Sometimes we can hype up a vision of a gift, right? Something incredibly expensive. Let's say an expensive purse, for example. And at the end of the day, that expensive purse might not give us something that we paid $4,000 for, might not give us as much joy as, let's say, a pair of headphones that you could buy for $50 that you continually use to listen to music. So maybe this idea of what we expect a gift to be versus what it really is, versus the type of joy that it can really give us. Interesting. Let's see where this is going. For charm number 2, please. What is it that is blocking love? For charm number 2, please. For charm number 2, please. The Star. I get a couple different things from this. I get this idea of shooting stars, right? But I also get, okay, I'm going to clarify this as well, just to be sure, because I'm getting this idea of a shooting star when we wish upon a shooting star, and this concept of feeling like we in our own right are not ready to approach a person or a thing. It's almost like we're not in a place where we're as beautifully wrapped as we could be. And so we're wishing instead of actually doing. I also see this desire here to keep hope alive. At the bottom of the deck, we have the Five of Wands, the card of conflict, right? The card of war, the card of, I see this as a tug of war. A tug of war between what will fulfill us and what won't fulfill us. What will cleanse us and what will not. If we look at the imagery here, the way that she pours both those cups, one of them she doesn't even look at. It's almost wasteful. It almost feels a bit wasteful, right? What she's doing here with these cups. I feel this sense of wishing for something, looking in multiple directions and wishing for something, but not looking or feeling possibly even worthy enough to partake. So we're wasting opportunities because they don't look like what we expect in a gift. And so we turn our eyes to them and we pour them out, and we don't even wait to see what's in those cups. We don't even taste it. We don't even nourish what is happening in that cup. I also get this sense of, again, like being wound really tight. Look at the way that her arms are crossed across her chest, right? As she pours emotion out. It's this, and even her body feels slightly contorted. There's a war going on in her head, this conflict about what it is that she should and shouldn't be hopeful for. And there's almost a stubborn denial of the fact that she even has cups available to her. And when she has the cups, when she has the water, when she has the love, right? Because cups and water are emotion. She pours it out thinking maybe there's something more like a movie, more like like the star card, the celebrity card, more like a movie that is waiting for me out in the distance, when she has all of this love here that she's already pouring out. Interesting. Let's get some clarifiers on that. Clarify the star, please. Clarify the star, please. Clarify the star, please. What's that? The Three of Wands. Yeah, we're waiting, right? We're waiting, and we're turning our backs on what is already there. We're waiting for perfection and turning our backs on what is already there because of a vision that we have of what love is supposed to look like. So we're just stuck. I mean, she's looking here. She's looking at waiting. At the bottom of the deck, we have the Seven of Swords. I feel like this is waiting in vain, waiting in self-sabotage. For some of you, I very strongly pick up on the theme that you don't feel good enough now. You don't feel like something that somebody would want to unwrap. And so you're working on your wrapping. You're working on the gift that you are. Now, don't get me wrong. Working on yourself, I mean, if you've been on this channel, you know that's like my number one encouragement, right? How can we be better? How can we get closer to our highest selves? How can we do our highest good? How can we fulfill our purpose? How can we attract the most incredible love in our lives? Self-improvement is incredible. But if you're waiting on a perfect moment where you are a perfect person and you find the perfect spouse, and that person has to check all the boxes instantly, at first glance, you don't even bother to see if they are that person, right? You're just like on the surface, right? And then you discard anything that doesn't fit that. You're self-sabotaging. You're waiting in vain for this. And for some of you, you're waiting, not realizing that you are already a gift. You are already a gift. And anybody that had you would be lucky to unwrap you, right? Obviously, not just in a relationship sense, in a sexual sense, right? In a opening your mind sense, getting your thoughts, being in your presence. That in and of itself is a gift. And you're not letting yourself be opened. I think for some of you too, it's been so long. It's been so long that you've waited for these ships to come in, that you've lost hope that your gift is going to come. And that mindset, where you're saying to yourself, it's not going to happen. I've been single too long. I've been alone too long. That is sabotaging you. You're stealing swords from your own encampment. And it's funny because if you look at the visual here, there's a sword and the bow is wrapped around the sword, right? That ribbon is being cut by that sword. It's almost like you're robbing yourself because you feel like this gift will never come. You've lost hope. You've waited and looked in the distance to see if this gift is coming to you, and you don't think that it is. Interesting. Let's keep going here. What else can you tell me for charm number 2, please? For our beautiful gifts, what can you tell me, please? What is blocking love for charm number 2? Oh boy. Grab those. Alrighty. Sorry about that. Drop those on the ground. Okay. The 7 of Pentacles at the bottom of the deck. We have the 5 of Swords, the 3 of Cups, and the 3 of Wands. 2 threes, actually 4 if you include that one. So double confirmation here with the 3 of Wands. Again, this idea of waiting. When we look at the 7 of Pentacles, here's what I'm getting here with everything that we've had on this spread. This idea that you're giving up on receiving this gift because it's been so long. You've waited so long for this union, for this reason to celebrate, for good news, right? For cups to collide. You've waited so long, and it's like you're sabotaging yourself. Some of you are, again, this idea of being wasteful with the cups that you're given, right? Because you're leaving swords behind in your mind. But some of you, I feel, haven't sown the seeds yet. This very much falls in line with all 3 scenarios that I gave you for this bow, this 7 of Pentacles. Think about this. Some of you don't even want to sow the seeds because you've lost hope, right? Nothing will grow in this fertile land if you don't first plant it, right? So you have to sum the hope back up, sum that courage back up to say, this is possible for me. There is a gift out there for me. There's a gift for everyone. There's multiple gifts. We have to get up and go get them. We have to plant the seeds. I believe that seed begins with hope for this particular energy that I'm pulling from. But also this idea of waiting. You know, in the traditional Rider-Waite, a man looks at the seeds that he's sown and he looks off in the distance and he sits there waiting for them to grow. So if you are this perfectionist, right, who thinks, I'll only be worthy when I lose another 50 pounds, when I look this way, when I get a boob job, when I have all of these fancy clothes, when I, whatever societal expectation that we have this week on women, on men, on what it takes to get a mate, right? You're waiting. You're waiting, and it's time to start planting. This idea of perfection, if we are evolving, right? If we are on the right path, we're never perfect. I'm sorry, we're never perfect because we're always changing. And to say that you don't have any more room for growth is to say that you're like a god of some sort. And nobody is a god. We are mere mortals on this planet. We have to take that first step. We have to understand that we are perfect in our creation. From that moment that we were born as a gift. Our life in and of itself is a gift. And this to me is a spread of somebody that has said, tomorrow, next week, next month, I'll be perfect then, and then somebody will love me. You are perfect now. Now is the time to unwrap your gift, to unwrap yourself, to plant seeds and to open yourself up to this love. Funny, as I said that, this wax fell off this candle, like this shedding of the bow, shedding of the skin, Lots of waiting. Some of you, I feel, have waited so long for union that you feel like you're doomed, like it's never going to happen. I've lost hope. Hope is the first seed that has to be sown here for those of you that are in that position. Okay, let's pull an oracle card and we'll see what we come up with, please. For charm number 2 for our beautiful gifts. What advice? What wisdom can we get for charm number 2, please, for our beautiful gifts? What advice, please? This is a shorter reading today. I do have a longer reading that I'm working on for the weekend, and that's why I'm kind of doing a little bit of a smaller one for this one. Okay, sensation and Deus Ex Machina. Let's see what those have to say. So what I'm going to do is I got some comments on my other video where I used the archetype deck, and some people really wanted me to put the text up so that they could screenshot it before I read the definition, before I read the guidance for the card. So I'll make sure to do that this time. I'm always open to constructive criticism and suggestions, so if there's a specific way that would be helpful for you guys to get these readings, please never hesitate to let me know. I'm here to serve. So here is the book definition for those of us that are screenshotters and would like to screenshot that message. And I will go ahead and read this. Here's the card as well. This visual of like a bursting volcano, of somebody harnessing that inner power, right? What's inside, letting it explode, letting it out. Deus Ex Machina is a phrase borrowed from Latin and literally translates as God in the machine. In ancient Greece, this term came to describe a theatrical or narrative plot device that introduces a character or event suddenly or unexpectedly to give a once unsolvable problem an inspired solution. This card is essentially the Tower card for our Oracle deck, but unlike the Tower card of the Tarot that embodies chaos and changes beyond our control, Deus Ex Machina asks us to be the fearless authors of change, our own force of nature, so to speak. It is the suggestion that the answer to the question, or the meditation to consider, is how an abrupt shift in attitude or decision might be necessary to resolve the situation at hand, and the power to do so can only come from within. It is the calling forth of the God power inside of you, your creative hero, to surprise yourself with a new way of seeing that breaks through what were once paralyzing difficulties by daring to be open to a new approach. This sudden stepping forth of our creative mind to transcend adversity by boldly imagining a new world, a new side of yourself, embodies the secret delight that animates the moment when we start to become the person we were meant to be. The divine within us inspires our future. Oh, that was really beautiful. This idea of change, of transformation, right? But nobody's forcing this on us. We're doing it willingly to be the best version of ourselves. We're letting go. And this constant theme of opening up, untying your own bow, unwrapping your own gift and showing that to the world. Here are the keywords for this card: beginning, success, courage, self-empowered, and strength. Let's take a look at sensation. Oh, I just skipped it. There we go. Here's that for you screenshotters. The world we construct through our senses is one way in which we can obtain an understanding of ourselves within the massive natural elements we are so deeply inside of. Reaching out into the dark silence of the universe, our mind gropes to calculate the distance of stars, and our hands search the earth and all its physical elements for understanding of our being. Keys we want to hold so we can feel their weightiness in our small open hands. The key word is see, hear, taste, smell, touch, and what is. This idea of, and you can see it in the card. Remember how I mentioned earlier, I guess I could just show you the card instead of the book. See how she's touching that cloth? There's a certain sensuality, right? Of opening the bow, of experiencing, opening up. Think about somebody unwrapping you as a gift. That there's something very sensual about that. But even metaphorically, like you unwrapping yourself, undressing yourself for the world, open, vulnerable, full of hope. They mention hope here as well. And the stars. Yeah, there's something very sensual about knowing that you are enough, that you are perfect, that you are a gift. And experiencing the world the way that you were meant to experience it. Right? Like you are the gift. You're not watching and waiting, you're participating. Well, that was a beautiful reading. I hope that you found that helpful. Again, I will have a video, I'm hoping, fingers crossed, this weekend. It is a future spouse related video. It's a bit longer, so I'm taking my time with it because, those videos have to really feel right. So with that said, I hope that I see you in the next one. If you have any questions, any comments, let me know down below. As always, you can reach out to me on my Instagram. I'm doing a brand new giveaway starting tomorrow, I believe, or maybe even the actual day that this video goes up. We'll see how it goes. So feel free to check me out on Instagram. Okay? Alrighty. I thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye. Alrighty, if you picked charm number 3, this beautiful antique looking comb, then this is the reading for you on what it is that is blocking love. Let's get started. So from this charm, I get a very heavy 9 of Pentacles energy here with this charm. I get this vintage appeal, this vintage, this almost going back in time. For some reason, I'm picking up a visual of a geisha. This desire to be physically perfect, physically beautiful. This feminine art that I'm picking up from this comb, the art of femininity. I get this sense of having every strand in order, having every strand of your hair in perfection. If you brush it enough times, it increases the shine, right? But I also I see this separation in the forks of that brush, like a shattered sense of what the reality of beauty is, of what this disassociated view on what beauty is and what it means and what the value of beauty is. With a comb like this, you might get more tangles than you would beautiful brushed hair. I also noticed that the tip of this particular brush, it's adorned with this beautiful, what looks like perhaps a jewel or something. And that is the thickest part of this comb, which would make it awkward to hold if you were actually using it, right? And the heaviest part of this comb is here. So I get this sense of the weight of the comb, the weight of beauty, the weight of physical appearance, the weight of a burden almost. How interesting. Let's see where we're going with this. For charm number 3, please, for our beautiful combs, what can you tell me about what is blocking love? For charm number 3, please. For charm number 3, please. What is blocking love? What is the main thing blocking love? The Knight of Cups and the Four of Wands. I get the sense here that an offer for love, an offer for union, an offer for this very traditional family sense of life is the primary motivation for this comb. And look at the imagery. We have the Ten of Pentacles at the bottom of the deck. It's almost like the end-all be-all, wanting somebody to come in, wanting somebody to offer that cup, that to give us that 11-11, that divine union, right? It's almost like you're waiting for an invitation to be able to walk through those 4 wands to this beautiful castle. Who is going to be the knight, in this case in furry armor, right? That is going to bring that cup and take you to this sacred place. When I clarify this, I get the Nine of Pentacles. And I feel like there is this sense that beauty is the thing that will lead you to that 10 of Pentacles. Beauty is the thing that will bring about this offer for this union. It's funny that I brought up the example of a geisha. I don't know where that came from, but it makes sense to me now. This idea that it's almost like when we look at the geisha, right? They sleep on blocks with their necks on blocks so that their hair doesn't get damaged. Their hair stays perfectly intact. There's so much about what a geisha does to get ready to look the way that she does. The layers of makeup, the layers of clothing, right? These beautiful silk robes, kind of like the silk robe that we see in the traditional Nine of Pentacles. This idea that you put all of this work into that outward appearance, Now, of course, a geisha is not just her look. She is the instrument that she plays. Everything is done to perfection with a geisha, right? Her hair, her makeup, her dress, but even the way she pours a cup of coffee, a cup of tea, is perfected. It is this vision of almost like, I'm not equating the two, right? I'm not mixing the cultures or anything. Like a 1950s housewife. Betty Draper from Mad Men, that perfect wife, that perfect look. If I can attain that, then I'll get the offer. Then I will get the Four of Wands. I see this as this, almost like I said, a burden of expectation on who it is that can perfect this enough to get this offer. Confidence comes up very, very, very much here. Confidence in the self. Are you confident with who you are right now in your beauty? Or do you feel like you're not beautiful enough to have a knight ride in to offer you this type of union? And what does it mean if you are solely relying on that beauty? If that is what you believe is the perfect ingredient for an offer, for a marriage, what does that leave for the rest of your marriage when it's nothing but how you brush your hair, right? How you pour the tea, how you cook this traditional sense of womanhood, of presenting, right? How you present the package versus what's inside the package. Let's see what else we have here. For charm number 3, please. Judgment. Oh. Who is it that's being judged off of their looks? Are we judging a book by its cover here? And do you feel like we live in a world now where the highest value that we can bring into a 10 of Pentacles union is this 9 of Pentacles, the beautiful robes, right? The delicate way in which we brush our hair, our beauty. This, to me, this spread screams of waking up from the dream, from the illusion that you have to be this perfect Instagram-worthy thing, lest ye be judged, or that somebody is judging you based off of solely your appearance, and only that will bring in an offer that will lead to union. You're being told here that it's time to change that. It's time to move the wheel forward. It's time to get out of the 1950s, right? Everybody is beautiful in their own way. You don't have to fit a mold on what anybody else looks like. You are favored just the way that you are. There's no special way that you have to brush your hair. In fact, if you were looking for relationships solely based off of what you could bring to the table physically and how you look, that in and of itself is a judgment, right? It's a judgment that you're making on yourself. And what value is there really in an offer like that? This Wheel of Fortune, to me, it tells me that there has to be, the wheel has to spin on our thinking. We have to get out of, this makes me think of literal time, right? We have to get out of this notion of these old standards of beauty and these old standards of only the pretty or the handsome get these offers. to dive into this. Very, very interesting. I am going to pull an oracle card for you, and let's see what that tells us. For charm number 3, please, what kind of advice or insight or wisdom can you give for what is blocking love for charm number 3? We have sincerity reversed here. Let's see what that means. I am going to, some of you had commented that when I do these readings, or I read from the book, like I did with the archetype deck, that you'd like for me to put the reading up to the screen for a second so that you can screenshot it. So I am more than happy to do that for you. Just flipping to the page, bear with me one moment, please. Sincerity. There's the definition. An honorable expression is one that is sincere. It effortlessly touches the inner core of our beings with its offer to witness and recognize the promise, trust, and love that is inwardly mirrored there. It is the universal emotion used to gather and hold all transient beauty in its enduring, protective grasp. This card is about beauty and what we see mirrored. When we look in the mirror, what beauty do we see? This card is telling us that true beauty is the promise, trust, and love that is inwardly mirrored there, not something that is on the surface. That is something that you can hold on to. That is something that is sincere. So in this spread, seeing it reversed like this tells me that we're not coming from a sincere place on our expression. Remember, an honorable expression is one that is sincere. So if all we are relying on is that outward expression instead of the inward expression, there is a lack of sincerity there. This very much falls in line with the idea. Maybe you're judging yourself because you know that it is insincere to rely solely on looks, and that a relationship that's based off of that is in and of itself insincere. That offer, like I said, it's empty, it's insincere. Beauty fades, outward beauty. We all get old. We all get older. I'm not saying you can't be beautiful in age, obviously, you can. But this really reminds me of something that I heard once, that beauty is a depreciating asset. But sincerity, truth, right? Being who you truly are, inward beauty, that never fades. But beauty is almost like a bad investment because it's always depreciating, like a used car, or like, with time, we get weathered away. And even if we look beautiful in our old age, the wrinkles set in, right? The younger people are probably going to gear towards a younger person. That is very much that concept of beauty depreciating, and that not being a sincere measurement of worthiness for a relationship. For this pile, we have to reconcile how we're judging ourselves based off of our looks. And recognizing that anything that we project onto the desire to have a relationship based on our outward appearance is not an honorable expression of who we are on the inside, because that is what truly matters. So here's your key words: trust, loyalty, friendship, support, and respect. Yeah, this idea of respecting yourself with this 9 of Pentacles, with who you really are, of understanding that you, in your natural state, are worthy of respect, are worthy of trust and loyalty, and friendship and romantic relationships. Trusting that that is enough and being loyal to the self. And understanding that you'll receive support for who you genuinely are. How many people have you met that are beautiful on the outside? That you meet them and you're just like, good Lord, beauty certainly is a fickle thing, I get this Kevin Aquan quote as well in my head. No amount of makeup can mask an ugly heart. Something to consider, right? All right, for charm number 3, that was your reading. I hope that you find that inner beauty in yourself and you don't let these outward expectations from an antiquated time stop you from pursuing the love that you feel that you deserve, from being open to receiving a cup. Inner beauty is what matters. That is what is going to drive this gentleman or this woman to come in and make an offer for this type of union. Okay? Alrighty, thank you so much for joining me today. I do have a longer video coming out, hopefully fingers crossed Saturday or Sunday. It's a future spouse related video, a little bit longer, a little bit more detailed, so I'm definitely taking my time with that one. If you have any questions, as always, leave them down in the comments. I try to get back to everybody. Obviously with the last video, it's a little bit difficult because there are a lot of comments on it, but I'm working my way through it, I promise you. As always, if you want to reach me, you can hit me up on social media, or you can always send me a message on my website. I am doing a giveaway, a new one, which by the time this video is up, the new giveaway should be up. So feel free to follow me on Instagram if you're interested in winning one of the best decks that I will be giving out this year. Okay? All right. Thanks again, you guys. Hopefully I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye. Alrighty, if you picked charm number 4, then this is the reading for you on what it is that is currently blocking love. What it is that we can work on in order to make the wheel move a little faster, to bring that divine union to us. What are the lessons that we still have yet to learn, which is why the universe has not brought that union towards us. You have picked the Graduate charm, which is a little scroll that is wrapped up and says graduate on it. I get a lot of things from this charm. The first that I get is the obvious, right? This idea of schooling, of graduation, of lessons learned, of going through the process of paying your dues. Oh, that's interesting. Paying your dues, a certain amount of sacrifice and suffering that is necessary to receive this scroll, to receive this acknowledgement, this certification. I get this sense of being indebted and needing to pay your dues in order to get some kind of acknowledgement, or to get that final piece of the puzzle, that final piece of information that will put you at a graduate level. I also get here that what is written is forever. It's almost like the idea that, once you have your diploma, they can't take it away. It's pretty rare that a diploma would get taken away from somebody, right? The only way that would happen is if somebody was cheating or something of that nature. So it's almost like what is written, once you graduate forever. Oh, this is interesting. I also get Akashic record for this. For those of you that are not familiar with the theosophy of the Akashic record, it's a record of everything that has happened in the past, everything that is happening currently, and everything that will ever happen in the universe, right? This theory that when we're born, we almost have this soul contract. We see this often in Christianity, the idea that God knows your path. He knows every step you'll take. Your fate is written. And I get that very strongly here, the Akashic record. It's interesting because in my head, when I say that, I get this strong Five of Cups energy, like this regret or remorse about that, about the contract that you signed, about what is written for you that you feel cannot be erased. That's interesting. I get this sense of wanting to rewrite your Akashic record, to start a new chapter, to write a new book, to graduate into that Ten of Pentacles, into that Ten of Cups. I also see the Devil card for some reason in my head. We'll see if those cards show up in the spread, but that stands out to me here. Let's see where this is going. For charm number 4, please, for our little graduates, what is the one thing that is blocking love? For charm number 4, please, what is the one thing that is blocking love? For charm number 4, please. For charm number 4, the Empress. Okay. At the bottom of the deck, we have the Eight of Cups. I think I know where we're going here. For this particular charm, what I'm getting is that we choose what we nurture. Now, of course, we have obligations in life, right? You don't choose to nurture your taxes. They just have to be paid, right? But for the most part in our lives, we choose what it is that we want to be the mother of, what it is that we want to nurture. And in this case, I feel very strongly that you have taken the classes, you have learned the lessons, you have nurtured your education, and it's time to graduate. It's time to walk away from school. You've been in a graduate program for 20 years, 30 years, 15 years, 10 years, right? You're long past due for your graduation. And what I mean by that is you are nurturing people that are likely to walk away, that are in a place where they are perhaps in transition, that are in this place of emotional sadness. You are trying to nurture these people to a specific destination, mothering them to a place where you can get them to stable ground and then partake in these emotions with them. What I mean by that is, I hate to even say this way, but this is the way it came into my brain. Forgive me, it's the universe, it's not me, I swear. You're nurturing dusty bums. You pick people that are, in a sense, a bit broken, that need fixing, that need these cups from you because they are empty. They don't have those cups. And it's funny that I get this Akashic record so strongly, that I got that in the beginning, because I feel like for some of you, you might feel like this is your contract. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised if you looked through your record, right? Your Akashic record of the relationships that you've been in. If you can spot a ton of similarities between the people that you have decided to nurture. broken souls, broken people that they should be focused on themselves at this time and their transition to get to stable ground. And you might be drawn to the broken. You might be drawn to the narcissists, right? The selfish, the people that want to take and never give. In fact, oh, this is interesting. I get this visual, and I don't want to be graphic, but of like breastfeeding a child, breastfeeding somebody that has fully grown, and you're the one that's mothering them. You're stuck in college, associating with and being in relationships with people that have yet to graduate when you've already earned your diploma, but you refuse to take it and move on to the next chapter. Move on to the next chapter. And I feel like for some of you, you feel like this is written in the stars. I almost wonder if you had somebody, perhaps even a mother, that gave you this feeling that you were not, this is what you deserved. This is the best that you could do. This is this feeling. This is the type of person that you were meant to nurture. That you weren't good enough for somebody that was already across the shore, that had reached that 9 of Cups, right? That emotional fulfillment. So you come in nurturing the unnurturable, right? The ones that aren't ready for nurturing. And you give and you give and you give of your milk, of your milk, of your milk, and you're raw now. Oh, I just got something interesting. For every giver, there's a taker. For every giver, there is a taker. The problem with this is you're not their mother. It is not your obligation. It is not your sole contract to raise somebody else's child, right? Now, if you want to go out and adopt, right? We're talking about in a romantic sense, right? We're not talking about actual motherhood. But these people are not your children. You have to walk away from nurturing people that have yet to graduate. And you've taken the classes, you've learned the lessons. So the question is, why haven't you walked off that stage with your diploma towards the adults in the room that are at the level that you are at, ready for a strong commitment, ready for stability, ready to give and not just take? It's funny because I find this give and take. I find this, how do I want to phrase this? That saying that I just said, for every giver there's a taker. I feel like you feel drained. You're giving of your milk, of your sustenance, of your every mothering, nurturing being to people that take. And when you do, you feel empty. And you probably reach a point where the bill is due. The bill is due for all these lessons, for all this nurturing that you've done for others, giving. And when you look at them and you say, why don't you ever give back? They remind you that for every giver there is a taker. They remind you that, look, you came in giving, so I took. And now you want to wonder why I'm not giving when that was your role. That was the role that you assigned to yourself. That was the contract, the verbal, the mental contract that we made. Why did you come in as a giver if you didn't want me to take it all? And I feel like your challenge, charm number 4, is to give to people that are at your level, that have graduated as well. But you have to grab your diploma and get off that stage and start associating with people that are here with you, right? Underneath that, we have the sun. Again, this imagery of like children, right? Like messing with children, but searching for happiness. And I feel like that happiness with this moon there's something elusive about it. Even that horse refuses to look in this direction. I almost wonder if you're looking for happiness in a direction where there is none. You're setting yourself up for failure by picking the same people over and over and over again. These children that ride your back and take and take and take and feed and feed and feed. This child isn't even looking at the horse that's carrying them. And behind them, the moon, these secrets, this knowledge that probably rests in your soul, that where you're picking these people that are going to ride you, and they're not equipped on their journey yet to give back to you, and yet you turn away from that knowledge. You look down on the ground. Interesting. Let's see where else this is going. For charm number 4, please. What is it that's blocking love? For charm number 4. There's that devil that I was talking about. The reason that I said that I got the devil here is because there is this toxic link. What are you chained to? What are you chaining yourself to? And why is there a codependency? Why do you need people to be codependent on you? Why do you need somebody that needs to feed, right? That needs to take from you, that needs to be dependent on you. Oh, okay. Here's what I got, and I'm just gonna tell you like it is, girl. This is the way it's coming. Is it because when the bill is due, you have that bill to throw in somebody's face? Is that a way to, because college ain't free, right? Is it a way to get somebody to stay? Is it a way to get somebody to cough up? This reminds me of all things, a song, an Alanis Morissette song. And I believe the line is, waiting for the shoe of your conditional police to drop. Something along those lines. If I remember the song, I'll link it down below. Making this pact with somebody where you might use that later. And there's something toxic about that. Well, I did this for you, so now I need you to love me. Now I need you to take care of me. But somebody that only takes is not going to do that for you. We have to stop picking dusty bums. We need to choose what it is that we nurture. And we cannot nurture this, right? You got to shake this devil off your back. When we look at the devil in this particular deck, this is an absolutely stunning representation of the devil here. If I can get this to focus, because you can see all of these heads that are interwoven into the cloak that this devil wears. That, I feel very strongly, is all the past lovers that you've had. All the past relationships that there's been this almost like a codependency to. These are lessons. These are years and years of education. What are you doing with that education? You're picking the wrong cups. If we look at that skeleton, right, as he picks a cup, that sword is red hot. It should burn. It should burn to pick that cup. But he picks it anyways. He picks it anyways, and even though it burns, there's this cycle. There's this attachment. There's this contract where we continue to pick people that we know are going to burn us. I mean, people that you might even give your resources to with those coins coming down into the cups, right? There's a snake behind this woman. And I feel like these choices to nurture the toxic, the codependent, the children, right, that are not at your level, that leaves you in this place of limbo, juggling, never actually getting anywhere. Very interesting. I want to pull one more on this. For charm number 4, please. For charm number 4, please. One more card for charm number 4, please. For charm number 4, please. One more card. You know what I get to here is this debt that you've accrued. This debt that you have accrued from being in school way longer, after you've learned the lessons, refusing to leave this place. It's time to pay yourself first. Pay yourself. The debt that you've incurred from these classes, from these lessons, from these attachments that were toxic, that were red piping hot, that you knew were going to burn. Instead of paying that debt into another person like this, pay it to yourself first. Nurture yourself first to get to a place where you pick a cup that is completely different than this situation here. You've touched the stove, you've gotten burned. What lesson have you learned from that? You know what else I get here? As a writer, it kills me to say this, but it's time to burn this book. Maybe it's time to put a red-hot sword in that cup and never revisit it. The cups that these types of people that you're nurturing keep coming out of. Burn this book, burn this record. This is not your contract. You can change at any time. This thing that you feel is a soul attachment to you, is a contract, is what you're chained to, this repetitive cycle of picking people that you know will lead to confusion, will lead to toxicity, would lead to codependency, and nurture something in another direction. She doesn't even look at this anymore because she's graduated. She's the Empress, right? For charm number 4, please. One more card, please, for charm number 4. One more card, please, for charm number 4. For charm number 4. Okay. Oh, yeah. It's time to take the tools that you've learned and to sow a new record, write a new path, write a new chapter. It's time to look in a different direction. 6 of Swords. Move to calmer water. Find calmer people. Find people that emotionally are not here. They're serene, they're calm, they're steady. They're ready to move into a positive place instead of dragging you into turbulent waters. And sow seeds that are from a different cup than what it is that you normally pick. It's funny too, because when we look at this magician, the magician here is represented with this green cloak of leaves and a flower headdress, right? Things that he's manifesting, things that he's growing. You need to sow these seeds to grow what it is that you truly want to manifest. You need to nurture what it is that you truly want to grow. Because if you keep nurturing this, that's what will grow. That's what will manifest. If you choose to nurture something different, then you'll get a different cup. Neither the magician nor the empress look in this direction. In fact, the magician almost angrily turns away from this. Enough, no more. I've graduated. It's time to manifest something new. It's time for a new class, in a new state, new direction, right? And I believe it's time to walk away from this. Very interesting. Let's get an oracle card for you. What type of wisdom, what type of advice can we impart for charm number 4, please? For what is blocking love? For charm number 4, please. For charm number 4, please. What is blocking love? What kind of advice or wisdom can we give to charm number 4? Charm number 4, please. Charm number 4, please. Oof. Too many cards. Let's do that again. I'm being told to do it again. For charm number 4, please. What is the advice? What is the wisdom that we could give for charm number 4, please? These are my most beautiful decks. I very rarely use them. I did a private reading recently that made me want to use them, and they're great, but they are incredibly finicky, so please be patient with me. For charm number 4, what wisdom, what advice can we impart? For charm number 4. What wisdom? Ether. Okay, so I got a note, a comment from somebody about the archetype definitions that I gave, and they asked if I could put the definition up to the screen before I read so that they could screenshot it for the future, which I am more than happy to do. So, for you screenshotters, here you go. I believe this is pronounced aether, so let's see where we go. In a secret yet hastening way, the substances of life streamed from the heavens looking for opportunity, that moment to become matter, and the cosmos were born. All life silently drinks from this astonishing source, whose organic mystery we grow out of. It is what happens, the work of the numinous acting upon us with extravagant potential. It is the air we breathe, the molecules that have formed us, diversified our world, and generously nourished all life from a deep internal reach. From somewhere we cannot know, this great reassuring breath moves through the wind and instinctively opens every flower. To access the germinal power of the aether is to ride this marvelous wind that is filled with ingredients of you, who you are, and who you will become, to the place where your potential becomes actual. So here's your key words: beginning, success, duration, generative, and sublime. One of the things that really stood out to me here is this idea of who you are and who you will become. This notion that we can choose at any waking moment to become somebody different. It might not be easy, right? It might take some work, it might take some classes, it might get expensive, but we can choose. We can choose to travel a different direction and rewrite who it is that we are to become. right? This line too, there's two of them here. From somewhere we cannot know. Oh, sorry, that wasn't it. Here we go. It is the air we breathe, the molecules that have formed us, diversified our world, and generously nourished all life from a deep eternal reach. This idea of nourishment, again, with that example of feeding. What are you feeding? What is it that you're feeding? Because if you're feeding a taker, they're just going to grow to be a bigger taker, right? We cannot change other people. We have to pick people that are worthy of being picked, because you are worthy, because you are a gift, right? And in this case, because you are a graduate. You have learned the lessons. You don't want to get stuck in the past with people that are not at the same place that you are. Okay? All right, charm number 4. I hope that message resonated with you. Let me know down below in the comments if it did and what you think about this video. I do have a longer video coming out, hopefully by the weekend. It is a future spouse related video that was very highly requested, so I will be working on that. It takes a long time to do those long readings, so obviously I want to take my time with it and really put my all into that. By the time you see this video, I should be doing a brand new giveaway for a very special deck, probably one of the nicest decks that I'll be doing a giveaway on this year. So feel free to reach out to me on Instagram. My social media handles are up above. And as always, if you'd like a personal reading, you can reach out to me on my website. I hope that this message was of value to you, that it made you think at least, right? About what areas in our life we need to pick different cups for. And I hope that I see you in the next video. All right? Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time. Bye. Alrighty, if you picked charm number 5, then this is the reading for you on what it is that is currently blocking love in your life. What is it that you need to learn? What is it that we need to change? How is it that we need to adapt in order to get that wheel to move a little faster for us, to bring that divine union into our lives that we're all craving? You've picked the charm of the bee, which is an interesting little charm. There's so much that I get from this little bee. The first is queen bee, obviously, right? This idea of being at the top, the creme de la creme. You've got worker bees doing things for you. You lay back. You have many suitors that you might not even realize that are working diligently to try to impress you, right? To try to provide for you. I also get this imagery of these stripes. They in the cast, they stick out very, very distinctively. And I wonder if you're at this moment in your life where you're trying to change your stripes, not realizing that your stripes are beautiful just the way they are, that they are the way that the universe intended them to be, but also changing them for other people, trying to adapt them to be the type of bee that they want you to be. Very interesting. This particular bee, if you look closely at the charm, she's missing a leg. She's been through it. I almost get Queen of Swords energy. Really, any queen, right? Because queen bee. But the Queen of Swords in particular, this queen that has been through it all, that has seen it all, air energy, Gemini, Libra, and Aquarius, and has some bruises, has some bumps. She's earned her stripes, right? And there might be some damage, some residual damage that is stopping her from taking flight because of the fact that she's lost a leg in the war. She has lost a part of her. Very interesting. This bee as well. Oh, she's missing an antenna on the right side as well. If we look at the bees' hands. I don't know. Do bees have hands? I'm assuming those are hands. It almost looks like she's covering her eyes. She doesn't want to look at where she's going. She doesn't want to remember, even almost covering her ears. She doesn't want to remember where she's been. And there's this, maybe that's why she's banged up, right? She's flown around blindly. And she's gotten some damage on her as a result of this. But still, what's interesting is her wings are still spread wide open. So she still wants to fly, right? She still wants to take flight, but she's a little banged up. She's been hurt before. Very interesting. Let's see where that's going. For charm number 5, please, for our queen bees, what can you tell me about what is blocking love? For charm number 5, please, for our beautiful striped little bees, what is blocking love, please, for charm number 5? For charm number 5, please. What is blocking love for charm number 5? The Ten of Pentacles. At the bottom of the deck, we have the Chariot. Cancer energy here, Earth energy here. I feel like this bee, one, she could have been in a higher level of commitment in the past, and that didn't work out for her. So she runs from that, right? Because she's seen some things, and she doesn't know if she wants to do this again. She doesn't know if she wants to. Did you know that bees, in order for them to produce 1 pound of honey, they have to get the nectar from, I believe it's like 2 million flowers, right? 2 million flowers that they have to suck the nectar from in order to make 1 pound of honey. I get this sense that you might be putting a blindfold on, covering your eyes, covering your ears, and fearful of this Ten of Pentacles possibly flying the other way. Look at this direction. The direction that the rider looks is to the ground. I get this say no evil, hear no evil, do no evil. I think that's what it is, right? Speak no evil, hear no evil. You know what I'm talking about. That monkey with its eyes covered, its mouth covered, its ears covered. The rider refuses to even look in the direction that they're traveling. And in this case, his goats, they refuse to look at each other or in the direction that they're traveling either. Something has been seen here. Something has been seen here that has damaged this idea of this Ten of Pentacles, of this higher level of commitment. Bees, they have to fly 90,000 miles. Don't ask me why I know this much about bees. I really don't know. And it's, as I say it, it is disturbing that I know this, okay? Trust me, I know. Bees fly 90,000 miles to produce that pound of honey, sometimes crossing the globe 3 times over. That's the amount of distance that they travel to make 1 pound of honey. And I get this vision here of the land of milk and honey. This Ten of Pentacles, this end-all be-all, right? This stable, happily ever after with the dogs and the kids and the everything, right? I wonder how far this bee has traveled and what this bee has seen and heard, and how this bee got hurt, right? How did she sever that antenna in that leg? How many times has she crossed the world over, pulling nectar, trying to get to this 10 of cups? To this 10 of pentacles, excuse me, I said the 10 of cups, maybe that'll show up in the spread. How much running has she done? Is it in the opposite direction of this? Or is she running from this because she's been hurt so badly before? That her Queen of Swords, her logic dictates, this is dangerous. This has hurt you in the past. Cover your eyes, close your ears, right? Close your eyes, cover your ears. Don't even look at it. Don't even think about it, right? Because you need to run the opposite direction, fly the opposite direction. It's funny, even here, it looks like they're taking flight because they're not even on the ground. Interesting. Okay, let's see. For charm number 5, please, what else can you tell me? For charm number 5 on what is blocking love. For charm number 5, please. For charm number 5. The 5 of Pentacles. Yeah. This path, this journey, has led to so many disappointments, so many feelings of being left out in the cold. I get this feeling like you've pulled so much nectar, so much love. You've tried to pour in so much milk and honey into situations. And this bee always feels this cold. And there is something in the subconscious that tells you that you need to be fearful of this, that it is madness to continue to buzz around the world, trying to make that pound of honey. I get this feeling too of, with the Chariot card that we had, if you look at these dogs, the way that they bark at the moon, right? The way that they bark at the subconscious, at the known unknown, in this state of almost madness, the madness that you feel, that the risk is it's madness to keep repeating this cycle. I get this feeling of, with that Chariot card and this 5 of Pentacles as well, this feeling of, how do I want to phrase this? Being afraid of being outside of that church. Okay, yeah. I can build this on my own. I don't want to risk these bumps and these bruises and being left out in the cold. I don't want to open myself up to that risk. It might seem glamorous, right? I might want to howl at the moon occasionally. It might make me feel alive. But inside there's something that I'm terrified of that makes me think that this is the state that I'll be left in. How much more can I stand to lose and sever for the idea of what this is? So you don't even want to look. You don't even want to fly. And for some of you, you don't want to go outside. Interesting. I need to get more on that because I feel like that's very, very important here. You don't want to go outside. Okay, I feel like that is the core of this reading. To get to this 10 of Pentacles, you have to go outside. You have to get on your chariot and you have to fly. There's been so many flowers that you have sucked the nectar from. There has been so many people that you have poured your honey, your hard-earned honey, that you have flown the globe 3 times over to produce for each person that has left you in this state. And you want to stay in your hive. You want to stay in that cocoon. You want to stay because you don't know if you can afford to lose another limb. And yet you still have your wings open. There is some part of you that wants to get on your chariot, that wants to fly, continue to pollinate, continue to suck that nectar, and try to produce honey for the right person to get you to this 10 of Pentacles. But you have to get outside. This does not reside in your hive. This resides outside. You have to get in your chariot and go get it. I'm going to pause the video for a second because there's a train going by, and then I'll be right back once it's passed, okay? Sorry about that. Okay, we're back. Sorry about that. I figure you probably don't want to hear that train going by this entire reading, so it was best to just pause. Can't you see I'm trying to do a reading here, train? Okay, so where were we? Yeah, I feel very strongly that you could very easily think that it is madness to try this again. That it is, but there is the desire still. There is still this yearning for this. You might even feel you've lost hope that it can happen, that this is where you're stuck, right? With what I was saying about the chariot and this 5 of Pentacles and needing to go outside, this idea that you have to fly the globe again. You have to go out and sample the nectar. It's not going to come to you. It is not going to come to your hive. You need to go outside. This means not just watching people on social media, not just sitting at home, Netflixing and chilling. Get your little black dress on, go out, meet people, interact, right? And you can use that Queen of Swords that I had seen in the beginning to make logical decisions, to calculate risks, right? We never know what's going to happen in a relationship. But we can definitely tell when certain people are in it for a quickie or some fun pleasure. They're not serious. They're not even nice, right? We can use that logic that the Queen of Swords has. Remember, she's earned her stripes, so she knows. She knows as she sits on her court. Before anybody even comes to her, she knows the truth. She knows in her mind who they are, what their story is. She gives them the opportunity to tell their story, but at the end of the day, she knows the truth. She knows that she knows the truth, you know? And so you can use that energy to kind of mitigate the risk a little bit of who it is that you try to get nectar from, who it is that you try to produce honey for. Taking that queen bee approach, taking charge literally with the chariot charging forward, taking charge, HBIC, right? Head bitch in charge towards this 10 of Pentacles. What else can you tell me for charm number 5, please, on what is blocking love? For charm number 5, please. For charm number 5, I get this hope, this lost hope, very strongly. But for charm number 5, take control. You have to take control. And the Magician at the bottom. Wow. It's time. It's time to take control and stop waiting for the honey to come to you. You have to go out and make it. You know the way that bees communicate with each other? This is kind of funny. Another fun fact about bees. You're welcome. They dance. That's how bees communicate with one another. They dance with one another. It's time to go out and dance. I don't think that was a coincidence that I gave you that little black dress example. It's time to go out and dance. One more, please. For charm number 5, please. Okay, 2. Fine, I'll take it. The King of Cups and the 7 of Pentacles. Yeah. You can decide what emotions it is that you show, how much you've matured, because you've been through it all. You can safely go out into the world and give enough and take enough to where you mitigate how badly you're going to get hurt. We don't all know the future, right? We don't know if everybody's going to be 100% sincere all the time, but we can control our emotions and go out and sow these seeds and grow something, right? Make that honey. But we have to go outside. We have to nurture. We have to go outside and nurture these flowers. We have to pollinate. We have to make this happen for ourselves. I think too, nursing these wounds, right? We might not be able to regenerate an antenna or a leg, but we can try to heal those emotional wounds. We can nurture the parts of ourselves that felt like this, with this left out in the cold, if we take control and start planting the seeds, start sowing your tilling your earth, planting your seeds, and then you can grow, you can pluck from this harvest, from this bounty, right? We can build into this. We have to leave the nest, we have to leave the hive, we have to go outside. This concept of the worker bees, again, I don't think that was a coincidence that I said that. The bees can't bring this love to you. The universe can't hand you everything. You have to meet it halfway. There's your own nurturing that has to be done in order to get to this. You have to leave the hive. You've got to put yourself out there. You know, maybe in small doses first, but get out there nonetheless. Sow the seeds, right? And take control. Okay, let's see. What words of wisdom or advice can you give me for charm number 5, please, on what it is that is blocking love? For charm number 5, please, what words of wisdom or advice can you give me for charm number 5, please? Oof. Simplicity. We're going to take that. Put these back. I got a suggestion from one of my subscribers that when I read these, they'd like to have the chance to screenshot the definitions. So I am going to make sure that I put this up for those of you that want to do that. Always open to suggestions. If there's a certain way that you guys want this done, I'm happy to oblige. All right, so for the screenshotters, there you go. Simplicity, and here's that card. Love this deck, absolutely gorgeous. Timelessness resides in simplicity. It is a return to primal forms with an inner life that unfolds gently and naturally into truth. It directly is, without any hesitation. Its elegant, barefoot presence is the measure of everything. So here's the keywords: naturalness, essence, beauty, elegance, and timelessness. This idea of essence, right? That nectar that I was telling you about, that honey, that milk and honey, and naturalness. I think for your particular reading, what I'm getting from this card is returning to primal form and unfolding all of this stuff that's harboring inside, naturally and one step at a time, letting it out, letting yourself out, right? Taking small steps in order to this delicate dance, so that you can dance with other bees and communicate face to face with actual people in the real world. right? Needing to return to this simplicity, to be willing to open, to be willing to put yourself out there and do your dance. The other day, somebody sent me an email, and I won't, obviously, I always protect people's privacy, but I won't tell you what the email was about, but I had recommended this video to this person that had emailed me. It's a TED Talk by Elizabeth Gilbert, the author of Eat, Pray, Love, which is like somewhat of a hero to me, right? Like, as a writer, I absolutely look up to her. And she mentioned something in her speech about, it's called The Creative Elusive Genius. It's on YouTube if you're interested in watching it. It's about fear. It's about fear of creation, of creating, right? But I feel like that applies to this reading, and that's why I'm bringing it up. This idea that it is so scary to put yourself out there. It is so scary. What if I get rejected? What if people think I'm an idiot, right? And she gives this example from the ancient times where dancers would dance, and there was this idea where we separated the artist from the art. So when an artist, a dancer, for example, would do their dance, people would chant Allah, 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 as in, that is God. That is divinity. That's not you that's doing that dance. That is this being that has blessed you with that dance. And that took the pressure off the dancer in order to allow them to be open enough and to not operate out of a place of fear that would keep them from dancing. That term has changed historically from Allah, Allah, Allah to Ole, Ole, Ole. And you hear that very often in bullfighting, in even like soccer matches, mixed martial arts bouts, you name it, right? Ole, 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 Ole. And that is what that means. Allah, 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 God, God, God. She mentioned something, and this is why I bring this up, in that video about the fear, especially if you have danced and the dance didn't end well, right? That we have to take that risk still. And even if you're not granted this moment where you feel like you are God in human form, right? Even if nobody chants Ole, Ole, Ole when you do your dance anyways. And be proud of the fact. Be proud of the fact that in the face of obstacle, in the face of fear, in the face of rejection, you did your dance anyways. I'm not sure why I remembered that story for this particular reading, but I feel like you might find something there. Do your dance anyways. And who knows, maybe the next time that you dance, that will be the dance. That will be the dance where you see the face of God, where you get the Ole, Ole, Ole. Right? All right, I'm going to leave it there. Otherwise, I'll continue preaching. Charm number 5, thank you so much for watching. I hope that you got something out of this reading. I hope that it made you at least think, right? Think and search your feelings and search your mind for anything that you could resonate with here that might be holding you back from that union that we all crave in our lives. If it did, let me know in the comments. By the time that you watch this video, I'll probably be doing the new giveaway that I have for one of the nicest decks that I'm probably going to be giving away this year. So feel free to join me on Instagram. My social media handles are up above. And as always, if you'd like a personal reading, you can reach me on my website, which is down here. With that said, I hope that I see you in the next video. I wish you luck with this. And till next time, bye.